Okay, Jordan, we're back. Our stuff that we've covered has just been incredible. You are clearly a gifted teacher, and being part of NTA and Nutritional Therapy Association, I just thought it would be really fun, specifically for practitioners and consultants, kind of your lens of broad view, eagle eye view of how, with digestion specifically, practitioners and consultants can be a little bit more whole body, or how they could be better as practitioners, specifically when it comes to this piece of digestion with the tools that we have as NTPs or NTCs. Kind of your thoughts on like what you see kind of being common, and how whether it's we pick that one thing and we dive into that one thing because that's who we are as humans, or we kind of think too broadly. What are some ways that practitioners and consultants can just be even better for their clients?
Yeah, I get really excited because I think our skill set is really one of the best for this area. And one of the first things is that I feel like we don't always own that. Like we think we leave, we graduate, we start working with clients, and we think like, oh my gosh, I need to narrow in, either because I need to develop a niche in terms of attracting clients. I need to be that like SIBO person or that PCOS person, which is not, it's not untrue that clients are also looking for that stuff, but I think one of the places where we can continue to educate ourselves is actually, it's like instead of looking at becoming an expert in a narrow place, slowly gathering more information about the foundational support is actually a really strong place to be doing continuing education. So that was when we were talking about cofactor nutrients. It's like we don't have time in the NTA program to dive into all that stuff, and so in specifics, we're trying to pack a lot into 9 or 10 months. And so for me, it's been really helpful to dive a little bit deeper into some of that, even some of the biochemical pathways, but they're really, what I learn is like, oh, this is the foundations. It's just that I'm understanding not how like a supplement, not how, product X works with the gallbladder, but how all of these different nutrients are important for bile formation. And then I get to have the agency, then when I'm looking through things like product lines, I'm getting to say, oh, these are the puzzle pieces I was looking for, instead of feeling like it's like I always use X for Y. It's like, oh, for this person, I'm thinking about all of these different nutrients that are probably going to be helpful. And then I'm putting those puzzle pieces together when I'm thinking about supplemental support or even, food-based nourishment for them. So I think it's like, yeah, of course, we're always learning. Continuing education is super important. But actually being like, I could learn the foundations better and be stronger, rather than being like, I have to know the protocols for a SIBO. And it has been amazing to me just to watch, like, yes, it takes some time. It takes more coaching often with, working with our clients in this. Also, I think, like I was talking about this, like sort of going slowly. I don't think there's more and more, I don't think a healing reaction or a Herxheimer reaction is actually that positive a sign. I think it's kind of a sign that we overwhelmed the body's detoxification capacity at that moment. And so it's not necessarily, doesn't mean that we were on the wrong track, but it actually does mean, like, I more and more don't think it's something that we just need to like push through. I think it's something that we need to take that sign, like, oh, we went over our threshold, and actually to do this work with the least harm and the most support, we need to dial it back and go a lot slower and not push the person into that kind of immune or detoxification response. And we can really listen, to those responses as cues to say, okay, let me dial it back, instead of feeling like, yeah, that's the reaction. It's a healing reaction.
And let me pivot accordingly and trust that pivot, right? And
Yeah,
oh,
absolutely.
I wanted to just address this really fast about how our body we're living in fear, right? So
Mm-hmm.
and everything you spoke about is all about literally believing that your body can make it and heal it, and et cetera, right? So when someone is like, I'm starting my own business and I'm starting my own consulting practice, and I am now in these situations where someone's looking at me for advice, that's a lot of fear.
Uh-huh.
So it's so interesting, like how we put ourselves into the place that we started with. It's
Yeah.
kind of, but we're at a different level, like the stories you were saying. So, what are some just really helpful things that you did for your practice as you learned how to develop your skill set and become this, incredible practitioner you are that listens to your instinct and pivots and is able to take in the whole picture, energetics and supplements and cofactors. What would be helpful for you, like when you started, I guess, as a practitioner, that I think so many people probably need to hear?
Yeah, I think it's a huge piece of the overall puzzle, and it's a reason that people burn out, because it's a lot. And that by putting your own nervous system into that heightened state is, yeah, it's a way that doesn't allow us always to function optimally. In fact, often not to. And one of the things I've actually started doing is I often start a consult with a client with some kind of like breathing or grounding for the two of us, which it took me some, I had to, some sound in the background. I had to really sort of build my own confidence to do that, even just to do some breathing or to close our eyes and like feel our feet on the ground and that kind of thing. But as I've started to incorporate that into the beginning of a session, I have noticed that we just both start out. It's like it takes, I'm not really on center stage anymore. We're both kind of getting into our own body. The client is having the experience of grounding themselves. And it also gives my nervous system the cue that I need. Maybe I've been rushing around. Maybe I just saw someone else. Maybe I'm preparing. It's like this reset moment that is really helpful for my own nervous system. And the other thing I think is having building a network of other practitioners that you can case study and roundtable and get support with. And I know it's not always easy. It can feel like once I left my little NTP pod, I'm sort of out here on my own. But it's been so invaluable to me to have a group of just a couple people that I routinely case study with and talk about clients with, because I often need, it's like there's something that my perspective isn't, my viewpoint is missing, and that additional perspective is so helpful. And B, just sharing the feeling of what it's like to work with people who are struggling, or what it's like to be struggling starting your own business, or any of those pieces. Having a couple people that you routinely check in with who are doing similar things is so helpful. And I'm excited, actually. I think the NTA's membership portal is getting a lot better, and it's going to facilitate stuff like that. But that's such a need, because we really can't do this work alone. Like, you have to have, whether it's you're getting other kinds of supportive work like body work or coaching or something, or you have a network of people you're working with. I really don't think it's healthy to be totally alone as the practitioner in this process.
I agree. Those are all so helpful. This is awesome. And I love that you at NTA, you mentioned a few times of adding more things into the curriculum. And it's just so cool to like see again that as soon as we stop evolving ourselves, that's the problem. And we do it in every aspect of our life, whether it's business or personal or career or education. It's like as soon as we think we know it all, right, it's like there's something that's going to block it. So I just think it's wonderful to see the organization that taught us like living it and breathing it and doing it. And I see it all the time with you guys, so I just am really appreciative of you.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think that they're stepping into that in a way that's it's a very exciting moment for that team.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, Jordan, thank you so much again. This is
Yeah, it's been so great.